So for everyone out there, I'm Karen Groh. I'm TitleStream's social media and marketing director, and I'm sitting with Jim Smith, who is the managing partner at TitleStream and the Smith of Smith and Truding law firm. So you have agreed to a challenge, and I challenged you to prove that Predial Servitudes weren't boring.
Predial Servitudes are boring, but I'm going to make it unboring for 10 minutes.
Okay, well, first of all, what is a Predial Servitude? Because it kind of sounds like a dinosaur.
Well, a Predial Servitude is basically when one property owner has the use of a part of another property owner's property. And it's recorded, and basically then it runs with title, meaning that buyers and sellers, it stays. There are personal servitudes and predial servitudes. Predial servitudes stay with the property, so buyers and sellers are subject to the same predial servitude once it's established.
Okay, could you dumb that down for me?
Yeah, okay. So I own a property, okay, and you own a property next to me. I need a driveway. I have no driveway, no off-street parking. You've got basically this big driveway, and I'd like to have access to it. So I approach you and say, can I use this? And you say, well, yeah, if you pay me. And I say, okay, I'll pay you, and I'd like a predial servitude on this parking spot. And so basically you give that, I record in the public records. Now I have parking, okay? And it could be exclusive or it could be joint. Exclusive means I can only use it. Joint, we could both use it.
So are you saying that I can just look at my neighbor's house and want to have something that they have and negotiate it somehow?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when after Katrina, there were homes in the Bywater that sat alone with two lots on either side. They didn't have off-street parking. You approach your neighbor about basically doing a predial servitude next door, establish it, record it, and now you have off-street parking.
So what's your thoughts on that mentality that some people have, that, hey, this is my property, I can do what I want with it?
Not in urban settings at all.
As a real estate agent myself, I do see a lot of parents of two-lane students and college students coming here and wanting to buy properties. And I feel like maybe the predial servitude, explaining that to those people as well. What are they getting into when they're buying property in New Orleans?
Well, just knowing that there's a servitude in existence. For instance, the driveway between two houses basically may look like it belongs to one side, but it may be used by both. It may be a reciprocal servitude, so basically for parking between, properties. So just knowing, now those would be recorded, so the title company would know about them way before maybe even the agents.
Can people just kind of like shake their hands on that deal? Like, hey, can I use your driveway? Yes. And it not be recorded?
It would not be a predial servitude. It wouldn't run with the land. You can have agreements between people that are only between people, not property. Predial servitudes attached to property, personal servitudes attached to people. So if I'm there and a next door neighbor and we get together, I can do that without recording it. Then basically it's just between he and I. It's a contract of use.
Okay. So let's say the houses here in New Orleans are very close together and I get my dog food delivered by drone. Do I need a servitude for that?
A drone? Okay. Do you need a servitude to get your dog food delivered by drone?
So they have to pass over
really
someone's
depends,
property.
okay? Does the Postal Service need a servitude to deliver my mail? No. Does Amazon need a servitude to deliver my packages? No. The answer would be no.
Can someone come on your property and just dig it up and without permission?
Well, if you have the utility servitudes, they're very liberal. Utility servitudes are in a lot of properties in Jefferson Parish, and there's some in Orleans as well. And then the utility company would have a right to basically dig up your backyard and would have a right to keep you from putting anything on that predial servitude, like a pool or a shed or anything like that.
So when real estate agents are kind of doing their due diligence as they're shopping with their clients, what advice do you have for them when they're touring these properties, especially in New Orleans, when it comes to these servitudes that may or may not have been recorded?
Well, if a servitude is not recorded, then it's not going to impact the transaction. It's only recorded servitudes that run with the land. Generally speaking, it's not an issue.
I really have a question for you, and we're running out of time, but I'm going to give you the question anyway, and then we're going to cover it later. But what is one of the craziest servitudes in a transaction that you've ever dealt
Well, I
with?
have
Unless
one I'm
you could do
working
it
on
in
in 2024, still
Okay.
going on in 2025, where a guy owned 2 properties and there were 2 doubles. And basically he built a garage onto one of the 2 properties, then sold the property. Okay, so the guy buying this was a shotgun single he bought. He could see the garage tucked up right next to his house. And he knew there was a servitude on it, and basically he owned the land, but he didn't get upset until he got his tax bill from the assessor.
Yikes.
When the assessor basically assessed his property, it was for quite a bit more than he had paid. So he was very upset, came back to me. You know, he did not understand the ramifications of having a servitude of someone else's garage on property you own, and that's what can happen.
So I think that you've won this challenge because I don't think Predial Servitudes are boring. I think they're pretty dramatic, which is juicy and interesting. So if I want more and we want more, how do we get more?
Well, I teach this for 2 hours for credit to realtors, and I teach it a lot. Now we have some coming up, and I know you'll have me scheduled for some coming up, but it's not only servitudes, it's not only Predial servitudes, it's personal servitudes, it's zoning, it's homeowners association rules and regulations. In this country, in urban settings, you are not free to use your property the way you want to use it. You're basically completely regulated by a lot of outsiders. That class goes into all of that. If you come to the class, you will walk out understanding a lot more about urban transactions than you did before.
So what's the difference between me wanting to be just lazy and pay $29 and do an online course so I don't have to get out of the house?
I only accept 20 people at a time. Okay, all of my classes, I try to make it so that it's more of a seminar. I don't like to lecture to people. And basically, so I like talk them through the problems, and I like agents to bring their problems to the table because it makes for a much more interesting class.
So agents can actually go to a CE and bring maybe some things that they're dealing with at a time, and you're going to talk to them about it in the class.
And you can bring your pets too, by the way.
Oh, I love that.
Just kidding. No.
Are you kidding?
So you can bring your problems to my classes, yes.
I love that idea. So I want to thank everybody for sitting down with us. This is the first in our Title Stream short series that we're giving you these little bite-sized little nuggets of information in an effort to help real estate agents be really successful in 2025.
Yeah, in my classes, that's what I'm trying to do, make you a better agent. Better agent, make more money. That's a good thing.
Love that. Miley, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, actually, we had one question. Which was, can you terminate a Predial servitude?
Yes, you can. You need both landowners that are then occupying the property, or at least you need the person who is the dominant party. In other words, the one who's using the servitude on somebody else's property. You need that at least. And if you don't use a servitude for 10 years, it'll prescribe and go away. Okay, so and of course, you can never have a servitude against public policy or for criminal intent or whatever. So there are ways to terminate them. Then you'd go to a judge and have it terminated by a judge. So yeah, there are several ways.
Great. Thanks to everybody for joining us. We are going to leave the link to register for our CEs in the chat. So just stay on and we'll get that for you. And we'll see you at the next one. Okay.
Thank you, Karen.